Hey everybody, today is February 25th, 2022. I'm Gene.
And I'm Zane.
And welcome to Hanging with Uncle.
How's it going, man?
Man, before we get started on that, I'd just like to remind everybody to hit that notification button, the like button, which is a thumbs up, and subscribe if you haven't yet.
Mm-hmm. And to follow us on Twitter if you haven't yet already as well.
And check out our website at www.hangingwithuncle.com.
Mm-hmm.
And you can support the show if you want and learn what your part in marijuana legalization can be.
We much appreciate it. And also to keep you informed whenever we go live as well.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So to answer your question, it's been a fucked up week, man.
It really has been.
Yeah.
Not only personally, but globally, it's been a fucked up week.
It has.
We will, yes, talk about the elephant in the room, about the war and what's going on. But we always want to start with the same routine that we always have. We talk about our good old friend, Mary Jane.
That's right. So today we have Triple OG that my nephew so graciously sponsored the show for us with this week. And
Thank you, nephew.
Crosses the finish line at 24%. So yes, very much. Thank you, nephew Boomy.
I'm also enjoying some tortilla chips because it's safe for me to eat these with some hummus, which is also safe for me to eat. So I'm happy too.
Enjoy.
We in snacks. So let's get right into the nitty gritty.
Yeah.
We want to remind everybody to pay themselves too. It is Friday.
It is Friday. Pay yourself. That's right.
But yes, there's a war topic we have to discuss.
Yeah, man. Well, we called it a Wednesday, let everybody know that the war had started. Russian troops had started already invading Ukrainian territory. And the past couple of days have been fighting.
Yeah.
Jets and helicopters and missiles. And yeah, it's nasty, man. People are losing their lives and, over what?
And of course, we always bring up the opposition. There's always another stance, and always, in some way, shape, or form. Some people just don't believe it for some reason. Like, how do you not believe that there's a war going on? There's literally visualizations, there's video, there's stories, there's like literal news. Everyone's talking about it.
It's on live TV.
Literal people are talking about their lives changing. How do you not believe what's happening? How do you not believe that this is a real thing? It's not a meme. It's not something to joke about.
No, this is happening. It's the real deal. Like I said, people are losing their lives, their homes, and again, over what?
Over somebody who is claiming Nazism. That's what he's claiming.
That's part of it. I heard that, there's several lies and justifications and propaganda they've used, and that's one of them. But let's face it, the last time the Nazis were in Ukraine was in World War II when Hitler invaded, crossed Poland and invaded the Ukraine and moved his way northward into Russia. So that's the last time that the Nazis were here, and they've been driven out, and there's nowhere for them to be seen anywhere around there. So if you really believe that stupid shit, then you're a moron.
Well, the fighting came without warning. Well, I don't know. Posting your troops up around kind of just give a pretty big warning to me at least, but that's what they did. They camped troops outside of Ukraine. So they're, oh, don't worry, it's just them just setting up whatever nonsense, whatever, securing borders. I guess kind of like what everyone's trying to call it now, securing the border, but that's not what they're doing. They're in their capital city. There are fights happening all over Ukraine, and they're trying to push even further into Ukraine.
And we've been warned about this in real time. I remember President Biden and Secretary of State Blinken telling us what's happening, what Russia's doing, what their pretext was going to be, and they've done it.
We've always been about Russia being not necessarily the enemy, but being in everyone else's business. And now, since they're not only they're cyber attacking us, right? They've been cyber attacking us since the war started. They've been cyber attacking everybody going on. They're affecting things. They're doing what they normally do while they're attacking Ukraine. But they've been a thorn in our side for so long. Even when Trump was in the administration, when Obama was in administration, like
they've been a thorn in our side since World War II, even when we were allies.
like it needs to. We can't stop it. It's hard. We can't stop it. We tried diplomatic, of course, right? We tried diplomacy, but now with him threatening a retaliation never seen before in history.
Yeah.
What do you do?
Well, again, man. So, World War II was over in 1945. 1950, the Korean War kicked off, and now our allies, the Russians, 5 years later, are sending their tanks and military equipment to North Korea to use in the war against the South Koreans and the United States. So that's the Russians. That's who they are. That's who they've been.
Yeah.
So let's understand that, number one. This is not something new. It's not something Obama created. This has been going on for almost 100 years.
It's something. It's who they are, I guess, or who Putin is, because it's not all the entirety of Russia. Russians are standing up in Russia, marching all over against the act of war.
Yeah.
But for how long, I don't know. Putin is arresting people, and it's not by like the 20s or the hundreds. It's by the thousands. Thousands have been arrested for protesting. So
when the masses stand up and revolt, because Russia's been through revolutions, they're not messed up about doing it again. I would not be surprised to see another Russian revolution and Putin taken out of office and hung like Mussolini was.
Really?
I honestly think that's what's going to stop this, because he's a madman. He has to be stopped, but it's got to be his people to stop him.
Yeah, because right now, our hands are tied. I mean, we're waiting for NATO approval, in a way, right?
So, I did a little bit of research from the last time we talked about this, and Ukraine has requested to join the NATO alliance, but not all members of NATO are on board. Like Germany has been opposed to it. Why? Because Germany borders Russia, and they got all their oil and energy from Russia, so they don't want to piss Russia off.
No.
You know, so, but as something like this, again, Ukraine has plenty of oil too. So Ukraine could supply, Eastern Europe with oil, along with whatever the United States and our other allies, supply them with.
Gotcha.
And it would be a good opportunity to not rely on oil and gas and switch to green methods of energy, become less reliant on Putin.
I mean, oil prices have skyrocketed right now, but
well, that's why. Even the United States. So here's something a lot of people don't know.
That's what war brings.
The United States imported more oil from Russia last year than we did from Saudi Arabia.
Really? Okay.
Yes. Oil is Russia's thing. So if we cut off their oil, don't buy from them, or have a significant amount fewer people buy from them.
So is that why I hear people talking about storing oil?
So, well, and I know that's why we hear about sanctions, because that's where it cuts them off financially.
So do people feel like we're not going to be getting oil? Like there's still a resource. There's still somewhere we're going to get it from.
The United States produces more oil than anybody else. We've been producing ours, storing it, and buying everybody else's and using it.
Gotcha. Okay. Monopolizing.
Yeah.
But okay. With all that aside, Ukraine is being pressured and pushed. The people are being armed on the streets and waiting in lines, basically, outside of trucks to go grab weapons
to defend themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a gentleman that they watched and walk around in a park that had his cell phone out, and he was on the phone with an AK on his back. And it was a natural thing then. Like no one double took, no one nothing. He was walking by with it.
That's what fighting for democracy looks like.
It is. But there are family men who got out early with the civilians and everything like that. But apparently they did put a lockdown on 18 to 60. So if you're 18 to 60 and male, you're enlisted.
You've been conscripted.
Yeah, you're stuck. So they've got them fighting for their country right now. Honestly, like you said earlier, guerrilla warfare, like they have a strong advantage. They're doing well. I mean, yes, sad numbers are lost. Yes, it's not anything to be happy about, but they are defending themselves well right now.
They really are.
It makes me believe that they can hold out to Monday, which is a weird date that not only our president but other world leaders have put like a date on to do more sanctions or to like look deeper into it when shit's going on right now. I don't know. Like I understand the sanction approach, but I'm not a fan of the sanction approach.
Well, it takes too long for it to happen for them to feel it.
Exactly. There are already people getting shot and dying right now. Like, it's not an immediate action that fixes something. I'm not asking for immediate go in there, shoot everybody, whatever nonsense. I'm saying is we need something different. Because, yes, they're going to whittle away and whatever, but when their Belarus friends get involved, or let alone they get a portion of Ukraine, they'll definitely try to hold on to Ukraine and bring more people in. Like, that's the basis of it.
Ukraine is the objective, but yeah. I think that old Vlad is severely miscalculated on this one.
Okay.
He's being very short-sighted. He thinks, "Oh, I have now Ukraine and it's mine forever."
He's acting very rationally, really fast. Yes.
But we're just saying these people want their independence. They want their freedom. They don't want to live in an authoritarian regime. They want to live in a democracy.
I'm going to say a famous phrase. It is 2022. No one wants to have war right now. The majority of people talking about this were like, I just wanted to have normalcy. And it's not even just Americans. Not even just people who know how to speak English, but there are others who are from Ukraine, from Russia, who are speaking out about this, who literally are talking about how, one, they didn't expect it to happen because they were like, yeah, whatever. And two, they're like, why are we having a war right now? For what?
Well, and here's something else. So actually, English is a very, very popular spoken language in Russia.
I've looked through a lot of threads that had translations. I like the raw stuff, you know. So you go outside of the English barrier, you get more footage.
My point is when you talk to Russians that speak English, they are more opposed to what's going on versus when you talk to Russian-only speaking people, they tend more to support this. So
Putin has his supporters,
but there's a significant amount to maybe where maybe something could be done unless he starts murdering his own people, and then that's very counterproductive.
Very. I mean, he's already jailing them for telling him they don't like what he's doing, so. I'm sorry if you guys can hear my chip crunching.
But yeah, again, it's going to take the people to rise up and say no.
Like I said, they are, but they're being arrested.
And see,
they're being handled.
We talked a little bit about this. Here's my take on war, right? So we have person A. Let's call him Putin, okay? Let's have person B, who's Ukrainian, and person C, who's Russian. Well, person A hates person B, right?
Right.
But person A doesn't do a damn thing about it. He orders person C, who doesn't have anything to do with this, to fight and to fight person B.
Right.
When person B and C may not have any beef with one another.
So what you're basically saying is they're not fighting their war; they're fighting somebody else's war.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Every time we go to war, we're fighting somebody else's war, and that's what the people of Russia need to understand. You're fighting Putin's war. The Ukrainians are not your enemy.
No, they're not.
The Ukrainians have been their own sovereign nation since 1991, so for over 2 decades.
Like, what's provoked it? Nothing.
The only thing that's provoked them is they're not Russian. That's it. You want to be independent, but I want you to be under my authoritarian rule.
So here's a further question I have for you. Is this a good example for other countries to see? Now, we had China and Taiwan have their issues. Yes, China cyber attacks and controls what their government is talked about, what's said, and all the nonsense, but China can easily emulate this, can't they? Or could they? Because like he opened the door. When you open a new door that nobody else has been, others are gonna venture. Others are gonna go through that door as well.
Well, again, China gets a boatload of oil from Russia.
They are allies.
You know,
I mean, it's a scary world out there right now.
it really is. You know, and yeah, he wants all those countries to be under his sphere, right? So you have Moldova, which is kind of southwest to Ukraine a little bit. Mm-hmm. That's a lot of Russian speaking. I wouldn't be surprised to see Putin continue that way. I can see Turkmenistan, Azerbaijan, all those other stand countries that are in, Asia, mm-hmm. Putin wanting. Nobody is safe. He's a madman.
He is.
And that's all he wants is power.
Yeah, it's... Something has to rise up in Russia and resist what is happening.
Even Darth Vader got taken down.
Like, yeah, true. Emperor and the Emperor too.
Right.
So...
It can be done.
It can be done. We're not talking to you guys, and we're not talking about this to be scared. We're talking about this being informed, and we just want to make sure that you guys stay safe and understand that this is reality. This is real, and don't forget, there is Russian bases in Georgia. Correct. So, be woke, be wary, like we say. Check your resources and look into what you need to about this, because it is a real thing. This war, gosh, it's got me shook really this whole week. Man. It's got me shook, man.
It really has. I mean, they even tried to go into Afghanistan. Remember in the 80s?
No, I'm not reading about that.
But yeah, so. Yeah, that they want nothing but to conquer. That's all they want to do. That's what they've shown in my lifetime. Mm-hmm. Even I remember learning about Russia. They were our primary adversary when I was in boot camp. Learning about their technology and their weapons and what they had, versus what we had. And it was very interesting. I still remember that stuff.
That's crazy. That's really cool. Like, I don't know. It's something that's in the back of my mind because I know that it could become more. Right? We talk about Trump all the time, and his policies match kind of what Putin wanted. He wanted a massive followership that didn't care about the rules and wanted him to break them. Like, he wanted to be in office again when it wasn't his turn. He wasn't allowed to anymore.
Yeah.
He thought having a massive followership would fix that for him. And we have talked before about a followership being a very powerful thing.
It is, but people can get sick of that followership.
Mm-hmm. They sure can. And kings do fall, rulers fall. Eventually, time will he will his reign will be over.
There's so many examples, but this isn't a history class.
No, it's not. This is current and this is real. So
I know you wanted to talk. You were talking about China.
Yes. Yeah. So I just wanted to ask you, what do you think? Like, do you think with this this new thing that Putin is just doing, do you think this could be an open door thing for China to be like, well, we're just gonna go and try to take Taiwan, I guess?
I think that would be a mistake on China's part. Mm-hmm. Number one, we have a very robust economic relationship with Taiwan, and money talks.
Yes, true.
So we don't have an official alliance with Taiwan.
Okay.
But we are allies with other nations that are allies with Taiwan.
Which is kind of having us in the back pocket.
Kind of, sort of. So,
deck.
I think any aggression by the Chinese toward Taiwan is less likely because of the immediate retaliation that the United States would impose on China. I mean, the same thing. I think it would be more likely to see the green light for Syria to want to invade Jerusalem again.
Oh yeah, because that was a big deal. That was recent. That was like what, last year, that they had there was like a civil deal going on where they changed an area. I can't remember quite.
So Syria borders Jerusalem, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like Muslim versus Jew. They hate each other.
Yes.
And they just basically want to come in and exterminate everybody in Jerusalem.
Okay.
So yeah, you had the I forget there was a war where Egypt attacked at the same time Syria attacked, and Israel was fighting the war on two fronts and won.
Damn. I mean, who owns it? I mean,
but I mean, not to say it was easy.
Right.
But it was just like there was some luck when it needed to be had.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think if they really are hell bent on causing some aggression, but if they attack Jerusalem, then now you're attacking NATO.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was gonna get to next. NATO is placing troops on standby in defense in NATO places, but right now they're refraining from it being involved, right? And America said we won't get involved unless NATO's involved, and vice versa.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know.
If Ukraine was a part of NATO, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Exactly.
Vladimir would not have invaded.
He would not have, because there would have been firepower involved. But
right.
Now again, with the leverage that he has and how Ukraine does not have NATO protection, we're kind of just waiting for them to do something outside of Russia and Ukrainian soil.
Right.
And I don't see that being a part of the Russian strategy. So, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't either, man. I don't either. So,
prayers out to those who are in Ukraine, though.
Yes,
I really hope they
definitely.
do well. Because, man, this is not cool. It is not cool.
Well,
let's move on.
We have a few minutes left. I kind of wanted to talk about our good old friend Mary Jane again.
All right. MJ doing well?
So I noticed that Arizona put out its revenue from marijuana, where they had $1.4 billion earned.
Okay.
Or generated from taxes.
That's
a
lot.
Yeah. So, I mean, just go ahead and legalize it, right?
That's just Arizona, correct?
That's just Arizona. Look at the entire nation of Canada, right? Mm. So Canada's budget on national defense was increased to $64 billion.
Okay.
They generated $43.5 billion just from cannabis alone.
So they could just fund it themselves, basically.
Fund national defense. Legalize marijuana.
For real. Like, and we've talked 50 times 1 is how much. So,
and
billion.
And California's a much bigger state population-wise, and Colorado's a much bigger state, and Washington.
Yeah, I would say there's a bunch of other states.
How much more are they generating?
Exactly.
We are... Talk about funding national defense.
I mean, I don't know, man. It's just... That's a lot of money. That's a hell of a lot of money.
You talk about wanting to fund stuff. Legalize marijuana.
Yes. Like, we talk about how we lose so much money. There's an industry right there in front of people's faces, everyone's faces, that we all know. I'm not saying everyone. We're not all in the same box. We all know what we can make off of this. It's just, again, old ways, man. I'm telling you, old, stuck-up ways to why they don't want to legalize pot. There's no reason to not have it illegal.
Well, I'm encouraged again, like we talked about before, that Apple, Amazon, and the Koch brothers are behind the legalization bill, the state's reform
and
act.
A lot of other corporations follow it, I'm sure.
Of
just
course.
Ones that aren't big enough to name, of course, for headlines.
Those are the big three.
Yeah, those are the big three, definitely. They're huge. Like, those are big corporations, which represent as people for our country, by the way.
Right.
That have solid stances on marijuana.
Yep.
So,
there you go.
It is what it is. Ready to get into our dumbasses?
I'm ready.
Yeah?
Go ahead.
Ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Mine is a little different on my end. Florida was releasing a bill. It did not pass, so thank God, because it was early in the week when this story dropped. But I still want to educate people on what voting rights are, what's being changed through just the bills alone, and that your vote counts anywhere. Trust me, okay? So Florida put out a bill that enabled teachers in schools, in high schools, to out teenagers that are not straight to their parents within 6 weeks, mandating them to do it.
This bill ain't dead yet.
It's not dead. It's not?
No.
Oh, shit. Well, yeah, this is absolutely fucking terrifying and discriminatory because it's literally segregating people who aren't straight. So,
well, discriminating is the authoritarian playbook, which is what Republicans want.
And that's literally what this bill is introducing. As soon as a teacher finds out a whiff of if a student has a different sexual preference other than straight, they are obligated to, within 6 weeks, notify the parents at home. Now, I've talked with a few people about this topic, and some have brought valid points. There's like, that can be against some people's culture. Like, that can really ruin a home.
That violates your basic freedoms.
Literally does, yeah. It now, there are some houses that would be super radical about that, right? Like, some people even are spiteful against people who have a different sexual preference than them, and even have family members who have them and they don't like them because of that preference. I have friends who are like that, but it literally, like, it's up to the person to talk about themselves and to exploit what they want to exploit about themselves to others. The teacher has no reason to be a part of the household like that unless they're talking about grades and their performance at school, period. End of story.
That's what school's for. It's about education,
right?
Not what somebody's personal preferences.
Now, I don't understand, like, they're trying to take that out of school because, one, there are people talking about taking, like, sexual shit out of books and whatever, not with that book burning and all that to keep children innocent, but also then outing kids. That also makes them, like, that just puts more people in a shell, more people not able to be themselves in a box throughout a period of their times until they become adults, and they'll be like, okay, cool, I'm gay. Like, you're just literally delaying it. What's the point?
There is no point
There isn't.
other than, remember,
Hate.
the point is
Other than hate.
to be discriminatory.
Yes.
That is the point of authoritarianism.
That is it. It is hatred.
Which I think is a good segue to my dumbass.
Right,
Unless
go
you
ahead.
you have a little bit more.
Fuck Florida. Go ahead. Or Republicans. Sorry, not all Florida. Florida Republicans are introducing this bill. I don't want to get too angry because I'm also stoned. It also has been a rough.
Well, and like I said, man, that's a perfect segue. So, yeah, man. Your local vote where it counts, your state legislature where they're passing these bills are where it's most important to vote, which is why if they don't want gays in the schools, I'm calling for no Republicans in politics because they're my dumbass of the week.
That's so ridiculous, man. Yeah, fuck. Yeah, go ahead.
And when I say Republicans this time, I'm talking about the Tangerine Terror and dumbasses like Mike Pompeo and Tucker Carlson, who have come out in support of Russia during this aggression against Ukraine.
I've heard the clip. Yeah.
Now, again, I'm old enough to remember back in the 1980s when Ronald Reagan was president, and him standing up and making that famous speech, "Mr. Gorbachev, tear down that wall," when the Berlin Wall came down, right? Oh my God, that was a big thing. Republicans were so for that. Standing up to communism and Russia and shit like that, right? How have we evolved to the point now where Republicans are cheering Russians on and saying, why do we need to worry about what's happening in Ukraine, even though they're a democratic nation wanting to be free and have so since 1991? They don't want to be Russian. They don't want to be part of an authoritarian government.
No, they don't.
They don't want to be Republican.
Right. They want to be themselves. They want to be Ukrainian.
Yeah.
No, that's it. Like, like I said earlier, it's 2022. There should not be war happening right now. We have COVID that we're still fighting out there. I mean,
it's...
We were worried about numbers dying around the world. Now we're still killing people. I'm talked out about this. I really am.
people of Russia, it's going to be up to you to stand up in numbers and take Vladimir Putin out and get him out of office and end this war and get Alexander Navalny out of jail. So that's good for me, and that's my dumbass.
That all we can do is talk, be aware, spread word, spread accurate word, because we can't do much from over here.
You know, that's just our suggestion from a safe place.
Stay safe out there, everybody. We all enjoy having you guys follow us again. Yes. Please follow us on Twitter if you want to be a part of the conversation. And if you know anything about the topics of today, please let us know. I'm Zane.
I'm Gene.
We'll see you next week.
Thank you for hanging with Uncle.
We'll see you next time.